I almost feel like we have taken such a turn in this society to make people feel okay for the misfortune of their lives, that we almost make people feel bad for not having that misfortune.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I know you have to feel this. You have to feel this. The body positivity movement of love your curves and all of this. How does that make you feel?
Well, thinking about it now, because I don't know if I just...
There's a point for me bringing this up, but I'm just curious. How does that make you feel?
Like, almost like they're kind of, like, enabling big women just to stay big because, like, it's okay to be big or something.
Yeah, but you're not really speaking introspectively. What I'm trying to say is, like, for me, I feel like I'm meant to feel bad for being married in a committed relationship. Like, by and large, like, that is not, like, glorified in any way. Like, we live in a society where we want to make people that have misfortune, we want to make them feel better about their misfortune instead of encouraging them to not have misfortune, right? So instead of holding people accountable, right, and telling people, hey, listen, like, you know, you're not a bad person because you're bigger,
right?
But there are health risks that come along with that,
right?
And I want to encourage you to understand what those look like. Right? Being big does not necessarily make you an unhealthy person, and being skinny doesn't necessarily make you healthy. Right? Like, if you're eating a bunch of junk, you're eating a bunch of junk. Right? There are some people that are on the bigger side that are healthier eaters. They might eat a lot of it, but if you got cleaner things in general, if you got cleaner things in your system, it's going to be a different situation.
Right.
But if you aren't, and you have clogged arteries, and you're diabetic and all of these other things, like, there are health risks that come along with that, right? We can agree on that. There are health risks that come along. There are risks that come along with the certain things that we glorify or we make people feel better about, right? Like, even like the sex positivity movement. There's nothing necessarily wrong with sex, but it's also probably not the healthiest to just be having sex with anybody, right? Just any old body. And like, there is a level of discretion we have to have with things,
right?
And I just feel like we don't really. I'm not saying we need praise, but it almost makes you feel like less than. Like, I empathize with white men that aren't racist. I empathize with them because every time somebody describes oppression, they immediately say, yeah, nothing but white men have made these laws. And
it's
like, so
it's including everybody and not like,
just imagine,
not praising like the ones who like don't have anything to do with what's going on. Like,
it bothers me. This happens with men too. Like, this happens with men. Like, they demonize men to an extent. And it's like, as a man, you have to, like, you know how they say check your privilege? As a man, you can't have an opinion unless you first qualify it with, well, I'm a man, so I know I have built-in privilege, but, right? Like, I watch all of these things and I hear these white men, they go, well, as a white man, I know I don't really have a place to talk. Like, that's not cool. Like, it's just not cool.
Yeah.
And I think that even little things, like, I've presented on social media, like, the importance of having a 2-parent household. I know for me, it has been hugely impactful.
Right.
I understood the inner dynamics of a man and a woman. I understood how a man interacted with a woman and how a woman interacted with a man.
Right.
I understood what affection looked like. You know what I mean? I used to, I remember seeing my dad like smack my mom on the butt, or I remember seeing my dad like come behind my mom and like give her a kiss on the cheek or the neck, and me going, ew, ew. And then he would just be like, this is my wife. You got to get used to this. You know what I mean? Like, I remember seeing that, and we mimic that. You know what I mean? Like, and for me, I feel like we live in a world where as a Christian, I believe everybody deserves love. I believe everybody deserves grace. Yeah. And I believe every human deserves acceptance.
Right.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that because you're in a place that's less than perfect, doesn't necessarily mean you got to stay there. And I think we encourage people to not push themselves. I think we encourage people to not take the hard route. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah. It was like last week we were talking about how like just like social media and just like everything else around you like will put the pressure on you. Like the one, I forgot the name of the
Trevi Moran.
Yeah, like how he was like just in a weird place, and okay, so like he didn't know whether or not he wanted to like be trans to be a girl, like to be a girl.
Right. I don't know what you about to say, but people was hyping him up.
Yeah, to the point where like
okay.
He felt like weird pressure, like to be like, okay, do I have to do this right now, this second, just because I'm getting these thoughts at the moment? Like, can I like take my own time to like kind of figure it out? But it's like, no, like once he mentioned, okay, like I think I'm like going trans or whatever, like
yeah, and it's like, instead he said, I can't remember his exact words, but he said, yeah, and it was like, yeah, you go, like, blah, 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 blah.
No, yeah, it was like so much.
As if it was like a parade. And he was like, okay, so I guess if y'all like this, it's like instant gratification.
Yeah.
Because you've decided to join this marginalized group. And I just think that, man, like that's all good and well, right? I'm fully supportive of anybody. I affectionately, not making fun of, I affectionately call it the alphabet community, right? And I am 100% accepting of all of those people. 100%.
Right.
I love all of those people. I haven't really even met somebody that I'm like, like, why are you like, I'm very accepting of those people.
Right.
Most people that I've met that are in that community, right, have been pretty much uplifting, inviting, funny. I can't really say a lot of negative things.
Like at the end of the day, we are all like human beings. Like, so it's like
exactly
what you do in your personal life, like that got nothing to do with me. Like,
right. So. And I'm all for. I'm a marginalized group, right? Like I'm all for living in the margins. I just feel like, man, I don't see a lot of people pushing people into healthy family dynamics.
Yeah.
And I don't see people that are not a part of those healthy family dynamics honestly being happy.
Yeah.
Or successful in life, right? When you lack the understanding of those dynamics, man, like it's damning, yo. Like the reason I say that is because I feel like there's I think we know way more people than we should that perpetually are in either bad relationships or breaking up or complaining that they're not in a relationship or not liking the situation they're in or not liking the father or the mother of their child and all this other things. It's like you aren't happy. And it's like, for me, a lot of them come from households that also did not have either one or the other of the parent. And I think there's like this weird fairy tale, we talked about it, where marriage is about happiness. Marriage is not about happiness. Marriage does not start with happiness. It starts with obligation. Happiness is a byproduct of the love you share and all this other
work
stuff.
You put in,
but it's work.
Yeah.
Have you seen your parents? I'm gonna ask you because I know I've been through it, and my parents, God rest my dad's soul, but my parents had their issues. But by the end of my dad's life, they were cool. So I hope that I'm not putting no dirty laundry out there. But I think most people in committed relationships for more than a decade, you go through some stuff.
You really do.
You go through some stuff. Have you ever feared that your parents were going to break up? Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yep.
And my parents didn't.
Yeah.
They got close. It was close, right? It was not violent, and it wasn't even toxic necessarily, but it was definitely volatile. Definitely volatile in the house at points. It was
just like a season where it was just like, all right, like they just not seeing eye to eye on whatever.
You might hear mom talk under her breath about dad or say something kind of cross, and you got to pretend like you don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
we've been there.
Trying to stay out of it, like.
But guess what? They didn't, and that's the difference, man. They didn't get through it. What did they do?
They worked through it.
They worked through it. There's duty.
Yeah.
There's responsibility.
Yeah.
Even in America, where we have all of these freedoms, it does not say we have the right to liberty, life, liberty, and happiness. It says we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Your happiness is not guaranteed, but you are guaranteed to chase it.
Right.
And I think we get so wrapped up in the possible that we don't talk about what the necessary. And I think that is the problem. And all of these families are broken.
Right.
And all of these children are unbalanced
Right.
and uneven. And they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Can't even piss right. Because one parent is potty training one way, the other parent don't care. And when we have these situations, I don't want to get I'm not trying to get riled up, but I take this personally because children deserve to live.
Yeah.
We always using these hashtags, save our children, save our children. You know how you save your children? Give them balance.
Yeah.
Give them stability.
Right.
Give them something that they can grab onto. Give them something they know to be true. My son is chaotic right now. I love that kid, but he's chaotic right now. He is a hurricane.
Yeah.
Hurricane Bryson. I love him to pieces. But guess when he's at his most peaceful? When we are together as a family.
Yeah, absolutely.
When we are together, you can talk about it because I'm about to get emotional.
No, yeah, this morning, like, first thing I do, open my eyes because I feel somebody, like, or something tug the end of the blanket, and I look, and it's him, and I'm like, oh, hey, good morning, and he stomps his foot, and he's like, and I was like, okay, do you want to come into bed? Come with me, like, and I'm trying to be real nice about it. I'm like, come in. And then he stomps his foot again and like, I'm just in my head like, why do he got an attitude first thing in the morning? So then I'm just like, okay, like I got him finally in the bed, like we're cool or whatever. But like throughout the rest of the day, like it was the same thing. He was fighting, like he wanted the breakfast I gave him, but like he wasn't eating it. So I'm like about to take it away because I don't want him to make messes. Like, and he starts freaking out, and I'm like, okay, you can have it, but like eat it if you want it. And then he's like, no. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'll take it. And he's like, no. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. So he's been like that the whole time. And then as soon as you walk through the door, like he's
joy,
just super happy, like, and he's jumping on the both of us as we're sitting on the couch, like,
exactly.
And it's like, yeah,
children feel that.
Yeah,
children feel that probably better than anybody. You have to understand, children don't. In the Bible, it says, without faith, it's impossible to please God, right? And faith without works is dead, right? You got to do something to activate your faith, kind of. Children, they always say you have to have childlike faith. Children have, I believe that children and old people are the closest people to God.
Yeah.
Because as an old person, you have to have ultimate faith. You done seen everything and still live through it. And as a child, you've seen nothing. But you don't know limits.
It's like you believe, like,
yeah, you don't know limits.
Yeah.
That's why children make stupid mistakes because they don't know what pain is. And it's like when you look at a kid, the kids to me are the closest things to God. Yeah. Kids and old people, and just look at how pure they are. They will tell you the truth.
Yeah,
they will tell you the truth. My son, first thing in the morning, he doesn't know how to say where's Chris. Chris. Yeah, Chris is at school, buddy. Mommy. Mommy's at work. Mommy work? Mommy work? So like immediately he's like, where's my family at? Immediately. Yeah. He wakes up like, where's my family? Where's my rocks?
Too, I did start a new job, so it's like
exactly.
It's been a few weeks since it's like a completely different schedule, but it's
different.
It's
been different mostly because he's
yeah.
never seen you leave.
Yeah.
And now he's seeing you leave daily.
Yeah.
Because you used to work really early, so by the time he was like up and about, you was back home.
Yeah.
But now it's like you leave, he watches you leave. And so he's just like, oh, where's she at? I'm just saying, man, like, it just feels like, people don't value family as much as they should.
Right.
But that, I don't care about adults. We always talk about, like I said, we're going to get into it. We talk about save our children so much. It's like the same thing people would say, like, "Oh, I'm pro-life, but I'm not willing to say Black Lives Matter." It doesn't make sense. If you pro-life, you got to be pro-life from conception to I can't think of a word that rhymes with conception that means death, but death, right? I can't think of it. Exhumption? No, that's how you take a body out. Anyway.
Close enough.
Close enough. No, but you got to be with it for all the way through. And if you really believe save our children, it cannot just be from pedophiles. It has to be from the destruction that's within the house. Mm-hmm. And there's rules to it. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to care about your kids enough to understand that. Look, we're going to get into it because I want to talk about some stats. I want to talk about the importance of family for children.
Yeah, well, I was just about to say, like, because, you know, like, in the early 90s, like, all the shows that we used to watch was, like, around family. We had, like, Full House.
Can we pause there?
No, I just wanted to...
Yeah, that's a good lead-in.
Yeah,
Let's pause there.